So a recent Fair Work Commission decision has shed some interesting light on what can happen when an employee is dismissed by their employer for expressing a dissenting opinion in the workplace.
That's right, I saw that. So Sean Turner at the time was working as a street sweeper for the Darebin City Council. He questioned the use of an Acknowledgement of Country in a routine toolbox meeting. Sean expressed the view that acknowledgements of country were being a little bit overused in that workplace, and also that in that particular routine meeting, he just didn't feel that it was necessary.
It's a pretty sensitive issue and difficult to raise in the workplace. What ended up happening after he said that was the employer argued that the comments were disrespectful in nature and actually breached various employment policies, and that they used that to terminate his employment on the grounds of serious misconduct. Sean challenged this, and the Fair Work Commission disagreed with the employer's reasoning because they found that the comments themselves, the specific way that he said them during that toolbox meeting, it wasn't a disrespectful or aggressive or sarcastic tone and context that was used. Importantly, to reach that decision, the Commission found that there was no other employees on site that gave evidence that they felt disrespected or intimidated by the nature and tone of what he was saying. Importantly, he also clarified in the investigation process that followed that he didn't have a blanket objection to acknowledgements of country in this workplace. He did say that, there was some room for them on special occasions.
Another argument that the employer made, which was rejected by the Commission, was that by default, employees should adopt the political or cultural views of their employer. The Fair Work Commission essentially held that employees are allowed to have and to express views in the workplace that are contrary to that of their employer, and that in and of itself is not enough reason for a dismissal. This case is similar to the recent decision of the federal court in the Antoinette Lattouf and ABC matter, where Antoinette Lattouf was dismissed for expressing an opinion that was different to that of her employer, and ultimately the court found that that was unlawful.
I think both cases, the Turner matter and also the Lattouf matter as well, have some really interesting takeaways for both employers and employees who are dealing with this very sensitive and tricky employment landscape. First and foremost, and probably primarily for employers, is not to make rash or quick decisions when an employee does express a dissenting view in this capacity. Having a different political opinion or having a different view on a cultural or sensitive issue in and of itself isn't enough to warrant termination. There is a way to raise these questions. There is a way to have different views, but it's all about the delivery.
That's right. The context is so important here. Now, employees should not look at cases like these ones and see this as blanket permission to go ahead and say whatever they want, whenever they want, to whoever they want. Employers still retain the right to dismiss employees for expressing opinions that are offensive, inappropriate, or opinions that genuinely impact the workplace.
It is so important for both sides, for employers and employees, to take their time and really carefully express and respond to potentially dissenting views in the workplace.